all goes, I gotta get it. If I start something, then you know I gotta finish. Talk about life, mental health, and all the realness. If you speak on it, then you know you gotta feel how real it is. How real it is. How real it is. How real it is. Hey, yeah.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Hayden THC.
It's your boy Suavee.
And welcome to the How Real It Is podcast. Yeah, so today we've got two very special guests with us. We have Morgan Bosman and Calvin Tigre, a.k.a. Unicorn Nipple and Clavin Toger.
Hey!
Clap it up for them, guys. We have mics in our hands, so we can't really clap. But
No, I hear the applause, man. That's crazy. You guys rule.
That air applause.
So these are two very good friends of ours. Morgan and I have been friends for like a decade, and we actually all used to be roommates a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. And so we've been wanting to get them on the podcast for a while. I mean, really, like ever since we started. And so I guess we know you guys, but they don't know you guys. So just give us a quick rundown of just a little introduction, synopsis, who you guys are, and then we want to hear about how you guys met.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You first.
I'll go first.
Yeah, you first.
So I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri.
Shout out.
Cool.
You're right.
314-636.
314. And then I moved to Nashville in 2011 to go to Belmont University, and that's where
we met. Yep.
And studied music business. Stayed in Nashville for like 10 years. Loved it while I was there. I also write music, songwriter, recording artist, and work in the distribution side of music for a day job. But other than that, we relocated to Atlanta a little over a couple years ago now.
Yep.
And that's me.
I'm Calvin, Tigre, or Tigre, whichever way you like it. And I'm a filmmaker, photographer. Originally from St. Louis, relocated to Atlanta.
Yes.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
I mean, she summed it up pretty good.
I mean,
I mean that was all her history, but I don't know.
What's so funny? So I also go by Unicorn Nipple, but what's funny, like I didn't know. So your pseudonym, or you are Calvin Tigre, Calvin Tiger. I think we were dating for some months before I even. Like I legit, I was like, I think maybe he's like part Spanish or something, like Tigre. I was like, okay, Calvin Tigre, that's cool, that's different, and like that's all I knew.
Well, see, I always thought it was Tiger spelled the French way, like le tigre, you know what I'm saying?
But what's crazy, we met in 2017.
Yeah, I think so.
In St. Louis. So Far Sounds.
Okay.
They do really cool, like intimate listening room pop-up shows.
Nice.
And sometimes it'll be local artists, sometimes it'll be touring artists. But it'll be like small listening rooms at non-conventional like music spaces, like spaces that are not conventionally music venues, right?
Oh, cool.
Wait, have you not heard of them?
I have, but I didn't know that like that was the thing.
Yeah, specifically they do them in non-concert spaces.
Nice.
And at the time in 2017, I was working for So Far Sounds St. Louis as the videographer, like the lead of the like video team. So I did all the editing and stuff for their videos.
Nice.
Did all the director of photography stuff for their videos. And on this particular night, I happened to be not working. I was off work, and they were like, "Hey, our MC dropped last minute, but we need someone to like host the show.
Yeah,
would you be down?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And one of the acts was Morgan Bosman.
Yeah, so my friend Kat and I drove down from Nashville, and for me it was home, coming home, and I played a few acoustic ukulele songs on the set, and then Kat sang some backup for me, so it was fun. We did a little road trip and came home and did that show, and it was at a shoe store. In like South City, yeah.
Shout out Big River Running in St. Louis, Missouri. High key.
We met there. So you were hosting, and then I
at the time I had this little like basement live performance type of show, like a la Tiny Desk, and Morgan was one of the first acts that we had come in that wasn't a St. Louis act that we gigged with every weekend. It was like she was one of her band, coming from Nashville, was one of the first touring acts that we had.
Nice.
So it was really cool for us to so there was like a lot of things happening in St. Louis, and everybody at the time in that music community, music scene, we were trying to create something that was very hyper specifically our taste and nothing more, nothing less.
Okay.
And so we were very selective with like who we had on the show. It was invite only because it was an audio engineer friend of mine, shout out Alex Stewart, and myself, who we do this full-time professionally. I work in live music as a filmmaker, and he works in live music as an engineer. So when we did this for free in our free time, we were not like any old person that wanted to come and be on the episode, could do it. We were like hyper selective. And so when we asked Morgan Bosman and her band to do it, and you said yes, and then actually came back to St. Louis to do it, and then actually did a full episode, 2 songs with a full band, we were just like so stoked about the amount of commitment that it takes to do that and how you actually did it. And I was like, see, that's why I'm fucking with Morgan, because she's on that wave. Like, we're the types to make something like that, show up and do it. And you wouldn't believe it, man. Like, so many people that we gave an opportunity to at first. At first, we weren't like hyper exclusive. We did like the first like 5-6 episodes, and we were just like, whoever. And it was people showing up, taking like 2 hours to try to get one song right. Like, dog, go home and practice. You know what I'm saying? If you can't play the song right the first time through, at least close to being right. Like, I'll give a band 3 tries. If you don't get it on the 3rd try, you need to go practice more. You know what I mean?
I feel that.
Or you're doing stuff that's like it's just beyond your like skill level. So we changed our minds. We're like, okay, from now on, since it's something we do for free, we want to give this to people. It's only going to be those that we really super fuck with. And so we built a working relationship that way.
Yeah, I have a quick story about when we met too at So Far.
Okay.
So like, I remember one of the first things you said. Well, okay, so you were hosting. You were asking, each of the acts, like, tell me 3 fun facts about yourself or something. And you have this like infectious energy. We're just like, hey, like the cool guy, like just kind of chatting with everybody and super chill. You made us all feel very comfortable.
I really
very comfortable. Yeah, no idea what I'm talking about, right? And but yeah, you're like 3 fun facts. I don't remember what one of the facts I remember was like, I was like, I recently learned how to ride a bike, or like, I don't know how to ride a bike really well, but I can on flat ground or something oddly specific like that.
I'm sure I thought.
And you thought it was funny.
I was probably like, what? She never learned how to ride a bike. You're probably also like, I never went trick-or-treating. Like, who is this person?
So, but like, you like had this like sweat, like I remember you had this like hat. It was like very like 80s colors, like this cap on and this fanny pack. And like
it was the fanny pack.
This like 80s kind of like fanny. I was like, he's cool, like he's so nice.
Love at first fanny pack.
So, gentlemen out there, if you're wondering, what am I missing? Why can't I get that girl?
Get that fanny pack.
Where's your fanny pack, bro?
The fanny pack, bro?
And it's gotta be like a pink fanny pack. You gotta be able to show your masculine confidence.
Facts.
That's
you
true,
met
though,
like
actually.
you met like
facts.
2 of my best friends and my dad the day you met me,
Whoa.
and we didn't date like till like couple years later.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like we were just cool, but like that's so funny.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember I was embarrassed because before everything had started, I was like, who are the acts? And they're like, oh, so-and-so, so-and-so. And do you know the Bosman twins? I was like, no, who's that? They're like, I don't know. They're like these jazz like legends from St. Louis. But anyway, it's one of them. It's his daughter. And I was like, okay, all right, that's fine. And so then when I was like, I had to introduce all the artists, and that's why I was like, what's 3 fun facts about you? And you told me those 3 fun facts.
Such random facts.
And I got up there and was like, hey, everybody, this is Morgan. Fun fact, her dad plays in a band called the Bosman Twins, and they're like located like or whatever. I was just talking about that, but to me it was embarrassing because when I mentioned that to you beforehand, I forgot to say this. When I mentioned this to you beforehand, you were like, yeah, I mean, that's not really my thing, but that's another thing. And so like the first thing that came out of my mouth was like, yep, Bosman Twins, we'll go. And that actually happened one other time too, when we had Briston Maroney come do So Far. At the time, nobody had heard of Briston Maroney, and he had like up to then his thing, at least that like mainstream people could recognize him for, was that he had been on American Idol. Okay. And the host was like, I was doing the video this night for Briston, and so the host of the show was like, and I'll make sure to mention the American Idol thing. And he was like, yeah, I mean, don't really mention that. Like that was 3 years ago. Like I've got my own thing going now. I'm totally detached from that. And she was like, okay, cool. Guys, we have Briston Maroney coming up. You might have recognized him on an episode of American Idol. Like immediately just like went straight to it. So I was like, yeah, we're just doing our best here. There's 3 acts. How am I supposed to remember fun facts about all of them?
We wrote them down. Well, the show I did, we wrote the fun facts, and you have them on a note card.
I probably didn't read that note card. Have you met me? I mean, you know me at this point.
At that point, she had to
I had
you,
not
so.
met. I just met you. This checks out.
Yeah.
So then we developed a working relationship where mostly I was doing video for her musical projects, but my band Ursa Major, we had actually you booked us a show in Nashville, and then
That was when I first met you. Fun fact, because I was at that show.
yeah you were
Yeah.
I remember that, and so then we stayed at your house that night, and that was the first time, like, so to use the bathroom at that apartment, remember you had to use like each bedroom had its own bathroom.
You had to like go through my
and
bedroom.
we were your guests, so we had to use your bathroom, but you were already in bed asleep, and I had to go to the bathroom. So I had to walk through your whole bedroom.
I don't remember. I was knocked out.
No, you were totally asleep, and I walked in. And I was like, it's dark, so I was like, oh, she's asleep or whatever. And I didn't want to like make it too bright, so at night when it's dark and your eyes have been closed, you can kind of see in the dark a little bit. And especially with like a toilet, there's like a big dark space right there. I'm like, oh, that's obviously where I pee into. So I didn't turn the light on or anything to keep it like I didn't want to wake you. And then when I came back out, I was walking through the bedroom and I looked over and I realized that, this is the moment that I realized you had been wearing wigs because you had long hair earlier that night, but then in this moment it was like really short. So I was like,
Yo,
surprise, surprise, surprise.
Yo, okay.
Hey, that's crazy.
Yo, one thing that I'll interject with that's totally real is, as a white person, I did not know that was a thing. Like I'm so serious. Like, I mean, for real. Like I was like, it took me.
Yo.
I mean, it wasn't until probably like college or even after that I like knew that was Like, I was like, wait, that's like not your real hair. Like, what
But
the
around
fuck?
the time we were in like wigs came back because like as kids like it wasn't like cool to wear wigs yet. But then
Okay.
like around that time it was like, oh, wigs like started becoming popular. Like it was a thing. Like oh, you know, the lace front. Like it became so popular where
Okay.
it's fun. Like oh, we can switch it up now, and it's not like it's not old.
Yeah.
Like they would make like cute younger like wigs and stuff and different
Okay.
colors and then you don't have to dye your hair each time you want to try something different or cut it.
Yeah.
That's hilarious though. Like
Yeah. That's so funny. Though. That's so funny, though.
So our friendship
Yeah.
grew from there.
now you've seen the real me.
Yeah. and this is actually, so we're engaged and we're getting married later this year, but this is something I was thinking about the other day. Before you came up for the Zenden, which was the little live basement show thing we had.
Yeah.
It was called the Zenden Presents. And I like was doing my due diligence and researching you, and I found your YouTube channel, and you had these videos where you were doing a coloring book challenge where you would
Oh,
yeah.
We just talked. We just talked about
Yeah.
that
Just
in
told me
episode
about that,
episode 2 of our podcast. We talked
Yeah.
about that.
And I was really enamored by someone that like made a challenge for themselves, and then it seems kind of arbitrary, but it's good for you, like spiritually, artistically, and you committed to it, and you did like 9 or 10 episodes or something. Like you did a lot, and I was really impressed. So that was like a thing where I was admiring you, kind of like. I don't want to say like as a business person, but just like as a like badass who goes out and gets it. I was just like, yo,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Morgan's fucking dope.
Yeah.
Nah, you are. That's so true
Yeah.
though. Like you are that type of person, and I
Yeah.
think that's one of the reason that like I think we became friends early on too. Is just because like I feel like there was that same type of just like, oh okay, like she's really like about it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like
Yeah.
like it's
Not just talking.
yeah, exactly. And I think that was I don't know too. It was just like good energy. You know what I'm
good
saying?
energy.
Yeah.
Like we were about our business and did what we love to do, but also like you're just hella cool. And
Yeah.
like, we just
'Cause
like
it can be
hit
both.
it off. Yeah,
It can be both.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that I think too it's like it's weirdly rare I'm finding. Like, you know what I'm saying? Which is so unfortunate,
that
but it's just like
authentic.
yeah, where it's just like, all right, you can still have that like authentic, fun creativity stuff, you know what I'm saying? And just really like vibe and be cool, but also still it's just like, yeah, but like we're really doing it. Like we're not trying to do this, like we're doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
High key.
Yeah.
High key.
So, but yeah, one of the reasons why and again, like I love you guys and I love like y'all's story, and it's so cool too because it's like I've as an outsider like seen you guys like come together, and
You've
I remember
witnessed the entire thing
That's
from the
true.
beginning
That's true.
to now.
I remember when we were first talking and you were telling me about Cal, and she was like, remember that guy from that band at that show that one time? I was just like, no.
That's a type.
right.
I'm a type.
I was just like, I mean,
One guy
I
from that one show.
yeah, I mean, like I don't really. Can you like elaborate? And
That's okay. Hayden doesn't remember a lot of stuff, so
no, I don't remember.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
My memory is horrible.
bad.
It's so bad, but
Yeah.
but I'm so dope, and I'm so glad because again, like y'all's relationship has been so dope to witness, and I think especially like all 4 of us just like living together and being able to like see
was a
that
fun time.
It was a fun time, except for
Yeah.
the parts that weren't, which we were talking about before this.
But at least we had each other.
Each other.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
You know?
We did. And that was so cool. But I think one of the things that's always been really interesting, and I think one of the reasons why I wanted to we wanted to bring you guys on here and like have a real discussion, just because our podcast is how real it is. And I think a lot of times, we get even like my mom, we were just talking the other day, and it was like, because we do music, everybody's like,
She's
oh,
like-
so this is like a music
Yeah, it's like
podcast,
a
right?
music
I'm just
podcast.
like,
We're like, no, it's not.
no. And so it's you know, we have these types of conversations, and honestly, like, I don't think all of us have had these types of conversations even as much as maybe like we've had with each other. And that's one thing that I really wanted to get you guys on here so we could collectively, you know, talk about what it's like being you know, like being with each other. And I think being you know, because again, we're both in interracial relationships, and that comes like with its own stuff, you know what I'm saying? And to just kind of dig into that a little bit, you know, because I mean, for us, again, we get it from all different types of angles, and I think we brought this up on one of the previous episodes where it's just like, I mean, you know, like, we're gay, we're interracial, like, you know, like size difference stuff, and it's, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's always such an interesting thing where it's like, if we're getting discriminated against or hated on, it's just like, I wonder what on the wheel of things that this is from, you know, like and the wheel of bigotry, which what's this landed on here? You know, and so I was so curious just because I actually don't know this, you know what I'm saying? Like, so what did y'all's families like have any sort of reaction or any sort of anything? Was there any sort of just like, oh, so like you're dating a white man or you're dating a black girl? You know what I'm saying? Was there, did you guys get any sort of that when y'all kind of, I guess, like introduced each other to y'all's families? Does that make sense?
That does make sense. For me, no, but only because, well, I had dated interracially before.
Me too.
Yeah,
Okay.
we both had.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
my family wasn't necessarily shocked. And during that, but they weren't. I mean, and during that time, like even with the first, you know, relationship that I had that was interracial, it wasn't really a conversation. I mean, you know, that my mom was just like, well, you know, as long as you're happy and you're respected, you know, and that's really the main thing. And, you know, my dad, none of them really said anything about it.
Yeah.
Not really. The only, and my grandma, rest her soul, and I love her to death. Like, I remember, because, you know, being, you know, you've got this like swag about you that's like, you know, you almost have like a little bit of an androgynous like kind of swag. That's one of the things I really, really like about you.
Oh, thank you.
And, and yeah, and you know, just like she's like in her 90s, so like you know, it was kind of like off-putting to her. It was like, you know, this long hair and, you know, piercings like and tattoos. She didn't really get it at first, and it was kind of like, you know, but I mean, she's in her 90s, so of course that's to be expected.
And I appreciated her. She always kept
but
it
she grew
straight.
to love you. She always kept it
well,
straight.
at first she was. At first I was your friend. How's your friend doing?
Yeah, she would not acknowledge him by name.
We were living
She
together.
wouldn't acknowledge him by name. She was like, "How's your friend?"
Yo,
And
But
then,
that's how it is.
and
with us.
Eventually,
later on,
though-
he became you know, she would ask, you know, how's Calvin? You
Yeah.
know, but it took a while. It took a while.
Yeah, I had to graduate for sure. I had to prove myself.
Hayden laughing. What's up, Hayden? What
'Cause-
happened?
Nah, because look, we're gay, right?
Yeah.
We get that all the time.
Your friend.
Your friend.
Your little friend.
Your little
Yeah.
friend.
Your little friend.
Little friend.
Yeah.
Where your little friend at?
Man,
Yeah.
I'm just like, we're married.
That's not my little friend anymore.
y'all are in a whole marriage.
Yeah. It's I think we left the friend zone a long time ago.
Right. So, you know, there was that, but other than that, everybody was very on my, you know, side open, and I also felt that from his family too, like very open and loving and accepting.
Nice.
Yeah, it never came up from anyone in my family to me. It's never been brought up, not one time.
Okay, that's dope.
I think those in my family that would have something to say, I don't know, man. Like, I grew up in a place that's very, like, even as much as the factions of people would like kind of stick to their own group, we were all in the same fucking place. So I never felt like anyone in my family was like too far removed from other cultures, really. You know what I mean? Like
That's cool.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, there's definitely the bigotry of that you can expect from, you know, whatever surface level stuff. Like, it's all going to be there too. But I was in an environment my whole life that was full of different cultures. So it wasn't until high school actually that I moved out to a place that was like predominantly white, and then things were a little bit different, and I started to see the world like differently, I guess. I started to see a different part of the world that I didn't really know was there, and it was like I don't know how to describe it, but it's like you're just frolicking along sniffing daisies, and that was like not something I was like accustomed to before. Like, no one really was living that type of life where I was at. So like, you know, me and the homies were like jumping out of the second story of the apartment window. So like, you know, because some family drama was going on, we're like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. And then like a year later, when I was in high school, moved in with my other parent, my dad, lived in a whole different tax bracket. I was jumping out of the second story window into the pool that was in the backyard of the homie's house. So it was like this real big adjustment in that way. And then I started to like kind of, I don't know, understand more about like how things were not about people, but more about like socioeconomical classes.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it was more like I don't know, all the poor people in one area, everybody said the worst shit about everybody everywhere all the time. So it kind of, in some ways, like to my little kid brain, it seemed equal. And only the adults, I distinctly remember the adults trying to teach me about race in the world, and me being like, but this doesn't, I hear what you're saying, but this doesn't check out to any of my experiences. But this is, you know what I'm saying? But this is when I'm in like second grade. So my experiences have been like, we're all fucking homies kicking it, and my one homie's got the big sister, and she's kind of flirts with me, and that I like, for whatever reason, that's exciting, you know. But it was like that type of shit. So I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I felt like I understood shit that people that in the white communities didn't get. Like, I understood that, like, I don't know, maybe you could speak to this, but generally in my experience, there's like this sense of like conformity amongst Caucasian people that's like, man, I just like, he's got like fucking Birkenstocks, man, I wanted to fucking wear those things. We all got to be the same.
Yes.
And then
very much so.
But in my like I'd go over to like my friend's apartment, and it'd be like, that's cousin, like, okay, that's Day Day. Obviously, it's not that person's real name. And then like, that's like, you know what I mean? And then you got like J-Man. That's obviously not his real name, but there was like an emphasis on individual, like unique things. Like, oh, so talented at this. I mean, where I was growing, like,
that's so interesting.
When I was experiencing like things out in the more white areas, it was like, a kid's got a hell of an arm. It was like, you don't even know what sport he plays. Just like every kid's got a hell of an arm, you know.
Yeah, no, that's so true. That was very much my experience.
It was tough for me when I got out there, because I was just kind of like, this isn't what the world is, and everyone's like, yeah, it is. And,
yes,
and they weren't wrong, because in that I was a fish out of water in that respect. So I was like, this ain't how the world is. Like, yeah, it is. I'm like, no, it's not. And I looked around me and I was like, whoa, yeah, it is.
To them.
To them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, I don't know. I feel like
we talked about that on one of our previous episodes.
You know, facts. Like, we went through a lot of differences growing up. And, you know, again, where I came from, we brought this up in the episode where we lived to survive. Like, you know what I'm saying? We wasn't worried about college or anything like that. We were like, oh, how are we going to get the next meal? Or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how how are we gonna, survive, and versus what, Hayden had to go through is like, oh yeah, Hayden's like, yep, I'm going to college. Like college money is put up. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just got to figure out what college I'm going to, so I feel you on that one for sure.
It was a different, your future looked very different. You know what I'm saying? And even for me, it very much kind of like what you were saying, Kyle. It's like, I felt like I was taking crazy pills or something because it's like everybody was trying very hard to be the same and was like that. It's like if you weren't, I don't know. And it's just like I wasn't, and I tried, but I'm just like, this is awful because this is not me. You know what I'm saying? Like I tried to. I think I mentioned this on the episode where Stan interviewed me. Our second episode, I think, right?
Yeah.
And and yeah, it was just like everybody was just into like punk rock and emo, and me over here, like I'm like a big hip hop head and stuff like that. I'm like trying to get my friends into it, but it was just like a joke to them. And I was, I try, but no, seriously though.
No, I know exactly what kids. Even though we were in different parts of the country, I know exactly what kids you were talking about.
Yeah, and it's like, and I tried so hard to get like into, but it, I just had to be real with myself. Like once I started getting older, it's just like this just is not me. You know what I'm saying? Like this is not. It's not me. It's not who I am. And I think that, I don't know. It was depressing, low key, trying to be that, trying to be someone I wasn't,
Yeah. Definitely trying to be somebody that I thought I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I had all these adults telling me the world is like this. And I'm like, but I'm looking around. Are we looking at the same world?
No,
like
no, but you aren't. Like that's the thing.
But we weren't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I was like, I don't know. That also instilled in me a lack of trust in adults just for the simple fact that they are adults. I was like, just because you're an adult, I distinctly remember being like, oh, adults, I have to trust them. Even if I second guess it, I still gotta trust them because they know better. And then there was like an age at which I was like, "No, fuck that.
Yeah,
I don't.
Facts.
It's me because like shit be going down." And like as a kid, like when something is weird, as a kid, you're like, "This is weird."
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's super true. I definitely experienced that a lot growing up. It was super. I don't know. And it's so interesting, and that's one of the things that I really like about this podcast, and even this is just being able to have these conversations and like, you know what I'm saying, just like learn different stuff. Because because y'all grew up in the Midwest, you know what I'm saying. I grew up in the South, and he grew up on the West Coast, so it's like there's some things that it's like, because like what you were saying when you finally moved more out into the country or whatever, like how your experience was, but that was my experience growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I grew up around. It wasn't until I got outside of that I was just like, yo, like what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this is not like things and people aren't at all like how I was told that they were, but that's the thing, I was told that they were rather than actually experiencing that or talking to somebody who was different than me. It's like I didn't know, it's like everybody around me was just the same, and it's like you kind of, when that's your world and your worldview, it's everything is so just like hyper, like localized or something. And I don't know, that's not maybe the best term, but it's like your world is just such your immediate surroundings. You know what I'm saying? And just anything beyond that just seems so foreign to you because it is. Yeah. And it's like there would just literally be things that even it's like you would hear sometimes that people would say, and that would just seem so absurd and so unbelievable to me growing up, because it was, you know what I'm saying, because it was so like, I'm just like, what, like this is nothing like me or anything around me is like, so like what the fuck are you talking about? But then it's like once you actually get outside of that and talk to different people, interact with different people, and like hear people's real experiences, just like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? Like I was very, very wrong, and I'm grateful for, I think, from our first episode when we were talking about just, getting out of your hometown and just like how important that is. It's like, I think that's so true because, it can really just get you in this this very skewed worldview.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to grow.
Yes.
It's hard to grow. It's hard to maximize your potential as a human being when you haven't, put yourself up against like many different types of experiences.
Yeah, exactly. So the other day I was just on Instagram, and they got a podcast from where I'm from. It's called like the Richmond Podcast, and they're just like, name some legends in your area. Name some legends that came out of Richmond, California. And I'm looking, I'm just like scrolling these people, and I'm just like, these people aren't legends. Like, these people, they've been to jail. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is a legend? Like, a legend to them is like someone that was like, grew up, had a lot of money, like, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, but what did they do? Like, legendary is something that's gonna, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna happen when you're off this earth. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, you're telling people that they're legends because they didn't, I'm gonna keep it real, like they didn't shot somebody or killed somebody, and you're just like, oh, he's a legend because he did that. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that he's not a legend. Like, he's a fucking killer. He's a murderer. Like, what do you mean he's a legend? You feel what I'm saying? Like, no, that's not legendary shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? But where I'm from, that's legend. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he's legendary because he's good at music. Like, it's like, nah, it's bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? It's bigger than you being a murderer. Like, you know what I'm saying? What have you done in the community? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's just that's where I come from, and that's what's important where I'm from. So moving out was like a sigh of relief. I'm like, oh my god! Like, looking back at that, I'm like, they think this guy's a legend because he, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, that's weird. Like, to me, it's like, that's weird. That's wild. Like, so it's everywhere you go, pretty much. It's like you see where people come from, and you see what people go through, and what's important to them, where they grew up and where they're from. Like in the South, people love college. People go to college and all that, Back home, it's just like, oh, we get a good job, or just trying to survive, like, for real. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, even where I'm from, it's like most people went to college, but they just went to the community college. There was like the one community college, like, in our county. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then just went back and just did the same shit they were doing. And most people that I know from high school are still doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, still. And it's, I mean, again, it's like there's nothing necessarily inherently wrong with doing that if that's what's genuinely in your heart, like what you really, really want to do. But I think, Cal, like what you were saying with like the whole conformity thing, it's just like that's what you're expected to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like you are ostracized if you don't do that. Like when I was going to college out of state, like I had people stop talking to me. I had people mad at me, and they're
That's outrageous.
No, I'm serious. Yes, because they're just like why are you leaving us? You know what I'm saying? Like why? And I'm just like, yo, I got stuff I'm trying to do in life that this city, like this town cannot offer me, like straight up. And they would try to like argue with me. It's like, oh, well, if you want to do music, like there's bars down at the beach where you can like play music. And I'm just like, that's not even remotely what I'm trying to do. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
Just,
but to them, it's just
High-key.
like that should be good enough for you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, it's not, and
play a
it's,
guitar, have your little bottle, and just ready to just for them to just give you money. It's like that's what you want to do in music. Like, no,
but seriously, like and I'm like, no,
no,
Like,
It's almost like
that's not. I want to go further than that. Like,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
it's almost like you're being looked down upon for having bigger goals.
Yep.
yes,
Which is wild.
Big-
Yeah.
That's a misery loves company situation.
straight
It
up.
seems
Or-
like,
or
you know what I'm
he-
saying? Crabs in a bucket, as they call it back
he
home.
or she thinks they're better than us. It's like, no, I don't. You should have the same mindset. You should want to get out and
Experience something
experience.
Bro,
something
we could all
different.
go get it. We could all go get it together.
Same, yeah.
Yeah.
Why y'all let me go by myself?
right. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like some people, they got commitments, families, and this and that. But
course,
but
but-
there's plenty of people yapping that's sitting there that could do it, but they're like, no, that would take a lot of work and effort, and I'd be out of my comfort zone, and I'd have to.
Yeah.
I already got people here that kind of like me. I don't want to go to a new city where I got to do that all over again,
Right.
and I don't want to. You know what I mean? It's like, dog.
Complainers.
yeah.
Like, not only that, you could go and do it, go get it somewhere else if you want. Bring it back.
High key,
But people
Exactly.
complaining about it, they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Nah,
but you gotta actually bring it back though.
yeah,
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Right.
motherfuckers that go get it and they're like, Nah, fam, y'all didn't support me
Peace.
back then. I'm gone. This city gives it to me. I'm here.
Hey,
And
I'm not
there's
gonna
nothing
lie.
wrong with either.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
well,
feel that.
No, no, not good.
Yeah.
everybody has their own journey, and that's fine, you know. But
I
don't
feel
complain. Don't do nothing and complain about it. I'm like,
That's
you
the
know,
issue.
Yeah.
you can pick an option.
Yeah,
We all had to.
I feel like
Right.
I feel like the thing with that is that, you know, it's easier to kind of keep people around you that support that little world that you've built for yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, rather than actually pushing yourself to grow beyond that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, you know, we've had this conversation a lot where it's just like, sometimes it feels like you lose people, but in reality you outgrow them. You know what I'm saying? Because some people, sometimes it's just like you're growing and people just don't want to.
Yeah, and then you
And you can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be a natural separation there.
Yeah.
Because if you're continuing to grow and build and move forward and somebody isn't doing that with you, you know, or doing that at all, it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of people and friends that I just don't really talk to or anything like that. And it's nothing, we never had beef or nothing. It's just like, I don't know. It's just like, we're not on that same wavelength. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
I'm just like, and having people around me that push me and that help me grow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, and that's, but I'm hoping, and that's part of the reason why, again, I feel like we say this every episode, but for real though, it's like part of the reason why we wanted to start this podcast was because I'm like, hopefully some people can hear some of these conversations and something like that maybe they wouldn't go out and get for themselves.
Yeah.
But it can start to kind of maybe like, you know what I'm saying? Like start to, again, these types
Motivate.
of conversations is how I learned and how I grew,
Right.
you know, with other people and people different than me. And just like, and literally just being like, hey, like, I don't, you know, I hope this isn't inappropriate or whatever, but like, I would love to hear your experience, like in this area that you have dealt with. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was that like? Because I have no idea.
Yeah.
And also being real that I don't have any idea. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And being real about, okay, how I grew up, my experiences and my understanding of things is limited.
Yeah.
But I want to expand that. You know what I'm saying? And I think for me, it's I wouldn't have even been in the position to have the friends that I have or be the person I am today if it wasn't for, like, you know, that desire to be, and that having some base level understanding of just like, man, I don't think I know as much as I think that I know. You know?
Man,
Oh yeah.
I feel like
no facts.
I feel like the whole experience of going from like making it past the 27 club and then going into my 30s has been like, oh yeah. So it's like every year I'm like, okay, I thought I didn't know 40%, but it turns out it's actually 50%. And every year it gets bigger. It's like, so now I'm like, I thought I knew 10%, but now I actually realize I only know 5% of what's happening.
That's real.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's funny, we were talking about how kids and adults live in such different worlds. I feel myself in this adult world, and I'm trying all the time to sort of be, you know, present with my world that I'm in, but also allowing my mind to be open to the other worlds that people are living in, and trying to see things, trying to just meet everything with an open mind all the time. And sometimes I feel like that makes me sort of like boring in a sense of like, everyone's like, man, this crazy thing happened. I'm like, really? Wow. Tell me more. You know what I mean? Like with anything, it could be like any little thing. And I'm like, wow. And not really have anything to share because I'm just so like stoked to hear what they have going on.
That's me.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel that.
Like a lot of times I'll just, and then it'll be my turn to share, and I'll be like, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just enjoying, you know, you telling me this about all these things that are so different from what I'm used to.
That's me and Hayden all the time. He's just like, yeah, and I remember when I did this, and I'm like, what? what? Tell me more about that. Like, what are you talking about? What would you say you went like, was it bungee or
Cliff jumping?
Cliff jumping.
Yeah.
I was like, I would fucking never do that. Like, but I will be there with you and I will root you on. Like, but you know, he's telling me about it, and I'm just like, dude, tell me more about that. Like, what did you do? How'd you feel when you jumped? Like, what was going through your mind? Like, you know what I'm saying? And he was just like, yeah, it was so much fun. And I'm just like, yeah, man, it was fun for you, but yeah, I'm here for you. I got you.
Yeah.
We definitely have some things back to the like interracial couples. I think we definitely have some like cultural nuances that we didn't know about each other. And that we did know about each other.
We still learn to this day.
And I was gonna say, as we're still learning all the time, and most of them are just funny. They're just downright hilarious.
Yeah, hilarious.
Cultural
Literally last night when we were watching something on TV, and you're like, yeah, what happened? What does it mean when a bird poop on you? And he's like, what the fuck? He's like, what the fuck? I'm like, no, baby, it means it's good luck. He's like, no way. And then the show goes on. It's like, it means it's good luck. Hayden's like, what the fuck?
Just some of these things, he's just like, oh yeah, it's this. I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean it's this? Or like, what was another one where it was there was a bunch on that one. I wish I could remember a couple, but it was this game. It was this game these people were playing called Black Card Revoked.
Yeah.
And it was and even then I was just like, man, I'm learning so much.
What is that when you're like, when you do something that's cringe and the other people in the black community are like, man, you lost your black card.
It was like a trivia. It was a trivia
card
game.
game.
Yeah.
And
I knew all of them.
He did, and I'm like, well, I mean,
I've been wanting to play. Is it like Cards Against Humanity, but it's like black culture?
Yeah,
similar. Yeah,
kinda.
I've heard of it. Yeah,
yeah. It's like a little different because it's more.
It was all like
it's more like just
different,
like
more trivia.
Okay, yeah, rather than like matching funny answers. But no, it was
funny.
Yeah, there's some things I'm just like,
they're like, who is what's Steve Urkel's alter ego name? Do you know it, Morg?
Oh,
Stefan.
Stefan.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny though. We were having a good time last night. It was funny.
That's like, what's the name of that card game? It was so different. We played it with your family for Christmas, and then we played it with my family for Christmas. It was two very different experiences.
It was okay. Embarrassingly, it was a card game about.
It's like
you had to guess. You would pull up the card and it would have the lyrics, and you say the lyrics, and you gotta guess the artist, or you gotta guess the song title or something like that.
Yeah, but it was,
we were playing like hip hop and R&B.
Focused on like, it was like hip hop and R&B.
And we played it over at my house,
like 80s, 90s, 2000s.
And I thought I was like, oh, 80s, 90s, 2000s, like that's the age like all my like aunts and uncles were growing up, and hip hop was like so popular. Like this will be fine. This will be fine.
You had to like name the artist or name the song or finish the lyric or something, and you could play it. It's a fun game, but it was like
I was embarrassed. I was like, come on, I know you at least know that one.
Hell no.
And it was like, and then it would be some random like they'd be like, oh, that's No Diggity by Blackstreet, and I'd be like, that's the one you know.
It was like random one so dead, and then we were like, all right, that game didn't hit. But then we played it at my family's house, and it was so lit.
It was so lit.
It was just, but cultural difference.
It was great.
Yeah. No, facts.
Facts for sure. And it's one of those things. I feel like our generation is really interesting because I feel like, I mean, when my mom was born, like when the civil rights movement happened, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like our generation, I think, is in a really unique place where it's like we're experiencing, I think our parents didn't have as much opportunity to experience other cultures in the same way that we did as far as like growing up. You know what I'm saying?
That's for sure. I was just thinking that like Sesame Street, you know what I'm saying? Like Sister Act, too.
Yeah.
Like that shit was like representative of my experience. I was like, okay, Sesame Street, that's right. There, like it just seemed like there was everybody everywhere all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was also
Yeah,
I
they
was
did a
growing
good job
up.
with
They did a
that.
really
They
good
did a
job.
good job with
I
that.
felt like the whole 90s in general were like, at least for kids culture, like all that, like Nickelodeon stuff, like it was heavily catered towards a black audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was like, I mean, that's what we were watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when the adults were like, the segregation, you know, all of us kids were like, what are they talking about? I mean, I don't even understand. It was like, man, it was so fascinating. It's so fascinating now to look back because I just remember being like, they're saying, like, even the idea of like, you know, and a lot of this you can look at through different lenses, but when I was a kid, it felt one way, and then as I got older, it felt a different way. But being like, they were like, black people aren't free, and I was like, as a kid, I was like, well, me and my homie Kevin are kicking it right now. Like, what you mean we're not like?
Yeah.
What? And then as I got older, they were like, black people are not free, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, they are, because my homie Kevin and then I got a little bit older and was like, oh yeah, I see what they're saying now.
Yeah.
I get it.
The systematic.
Yeah, one thing that I think there's a few things that have taken a new light as I've gotten older and learned more. You know what I'm saying? I think one was when I've met somebody with the same last name as me who's black. And at first I was like, hey, we might have been related back in the day. And then now I'm just like, oh no. Like, yeah, it's
Some pretty intense implications historically.
Yeah.
from
yeah,
that.
I know. And it's like, I'm just like, yeah. I mean, sometimes it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It's like, I mean, sometimes, you know, it could be like, damn, you know what I'm saying? You can kind of laugh about it in a way, but also at the same time, just kind of really understanding that it's just like, yo, like, like, that's insane that it's like my ancestors, you know, put their whole identity onto you forcefully, to say the least. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because it's, I mean, you know,
It's hard to say, like,
Yeah.
you know, exactly, like, who came from what. But I feel like there's, like a lot of poor Irish people. Now, they weren't living a slave's life, so don't get it twisted. But I feel like there's more people that came from the poor Irish, the poor Italians, the poor, you know, immigrants that are white or white passing than came from the plantation owners.
Yeah,
At least, but I grew up in the fucking Union, dog. You know what I mean? Like, I grew up in the North compared to, you know, the in that regard. But I don't know, though.
it's different in the South.
It's definitely
It definitely seems like
It's different in the
Yeah,
South. I
'cause-
can tell you that for sure.
you know, Hayden, you know, your mom would say, like, you know, she grew up poor, you know what I'm saying? And you would be like, it's a different type of poor.
It's a
though.
different poor.
You know what I'm saying? It's a different poor, you know? I'm like, nah.
Because
Yeah.
and the reason is because my mom had the opportunity to get herself out of that in a way that, you know, somebody who was black in her same position would not.
Yeah.
You know? And the
Different
thing is
poor.
and exactly
Different.
and it's something that I notice, you know what I'm saying? That I've now that, you know, again, my husband is black, like my friends are black, and I get to see firsthand how it's like the experiences that y'all have are different than my experiences.
Yeah.
Like one of my friends literally got pulled over and was like hella late for work because he, you know, fit a description of somebody, didn't do anything, was literally minding his own business, was on his way to work.
Yep.
And, you know, and he ended up getting in real big trouble at his job because of that, which is insane. Like he literally didn't do anything. He was just existing. And I have a friend who even went to jail for something that he didn't even do. Same thing, because he fit a description, and he was released the next day because, you know, they had, you know, checked, you know, everything checked out and stuff like that. But still, it's just like, dude, none of my white friends growing up have ever had an experience like that for themselves. Ever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I see that, like, this is something that I can see
Every day.
on a
Every-
daily basis.
Yeah,
and it's like, we're in 2024 now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And this is still happening. That's why I'm saying it's like it's a different, you know, we all live in the same country, but we don't. You know what I'm saying? Like we have our worldview, our experiences, everything is different, and that's something that we've really got to acknowledge and be honest. And it's something for me, like when I heard that growing up, you know, it's like that was like insane to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just like, that would never happen. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
But this is something that happens all the time for other, you know what I'm saying? And then being able to like hear those experiences, and especially like to see those and see my friends go through these things, and it's just like, yo, this is crazy. But if you are never in the position where you get to see other people or different people who have those experiences, it's gonna feel that way to you, and it's gonna seem like that's crazy, or that's, you know,
So
overreacting. Or
And I think that's what happens to a lot of the people that are outside of black communities, like in more rural areas. They'll straight up be like, they'll think it's like some kind of whining or like some, because they're like, man, that shit's not happening. It's like, you're not seeing it.
Right.
Yeah. They
But
just
it
want
is
more money from the government.
Right. I'm like, man, what the fuck? Like
I heard that a lot growing up.
Yeah, that was one of the shits that fucked me up when I moved out to Wentzville. I was like, y'all don't even live in this real world.
Yeah.
And you're out here like, I don't even want to get into it like that, but that was always like really frustrating to me as like a teenager. But also as a teenager, I was like, yeah, but I'm just a fucking dumb teenager. I probably don't know shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And was like, they probably got it managed, but shit, I don't know. I didn't know who to trust. So I can only trust me and, you know, the homies.
And that's why it's so important to get out of your hometown. Like, experience something different than what you're used to. Experience different people, different cultures. Like,
no, true.
because otherwise you'll never know. If you don't know any better, you just know what you grew up around. You think that's all there is.
That's all. Yeah, exactly.
But now there, I mean,
And if you don't leave,
no excuse.
if you don't get out, then that is all there is.
Yep.
And I was like, don't get me wrong. I have a lot of appreciation for all the places I've lived in my life and the neighborhoods I was in, but I was just like, I gotta go to a place where it feels right for me.
Yes.
And this, I'm sorry, but this is like not it. I don't know how to express to you guys that I want more than this. For example, I got my degree in filmmaking, right?
Yeah.
I graduate and I was basically living out of my car for about a year, just trying to find any job. I mean, when I graduated in 2013, it was like, you went to college and got a job? That sucks because no one's hiring and degrees don't mean shit anymore.
Right.
We were like the first few years that it was that way. So
Yeah.
before that, it was like, you have to do college or else you're not going to get a job. And as soon as I did it, they're like, sorry, buddy, that's not how it is anymore.
You know, I've never had a single job ask for my degree. Ever.
That's crazy.
Like, seriously,
man.
I just thought about that. I'm like, you know what?
That's so crazy.
I could just put anything on
You know
there,
what?
and they're not checking
That's
that shit.
true. Yeah.
But
What was I saying? I was like, I had moved back home for something. God, I forget what I was talking about. What was the subject matter?
no, we were saying, because you were saying how you were living out of your car for a while, and you know, we had got basically like there was no jobs for us. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. I remember. Okay, so
Yeah.
and my parents lived in this well, it used to be a small town, but now it's like pretty big. It's called Wentzville, Missouri. I mean, it sounds country, and I got a lot of love for it, but it's just not my type of environment. And I was trying to explain to people like that I didn't want to live there anymore, and they're like, but why? And I'm like, listen, I got my degree in filmmaking, and the only two jobs that I can find that are even remotely close to doing anything with a camera is working at this place called eTrailer.com, which was a place where I would be shooting and editing trailer, like how to attach trailer hitches to trucks, like demos for the company that makes the trailer hitches. Like I'd be doing that, or I could work at a place converting VHS to DVD. Those were the only two options. I'm like, I want to make movies. And they're like, but the DVD play, the VHS, hey, it's an option. I'm like, it's not an option.
no,
I gotta go. Like I gotta get out of here. And they're like, but man, what about the movie theater? I'm like, I already applied, okay? And I didn't get hired. I literally have a degree in filmmaking and didn't get hired at the movie theater. Like, I got to get out of this town. What the fuck? Like, that was, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh. Nah, it's crazy. And I had such a similar experience for real. And you know, I don't.
That's probably what brought us all together.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all transplants. We're all transplants.
Yeah, we are. And I think we have that. There's that common thread, I think, between all of us, which kind of makes us all friends. You know what I'm saying? But it also makes us, I don't know, man. It's just like, I don't know.
It's like
And
a chosen family kind
Yes.
of vibe.
Yeah.
It's like
It
a chosen
is.
family.
100%, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No facts.
And I think, and I don't know, maybe I think sometimes people feel like, you know, those people, I don't know if there's like some sense of like obligation or some sense of just like, these are my people because I'm from here or like I'm here, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to be totally honest. And this is something that we discussed in my episode, because I moved around a lot. You know, I don't know. I don't have that experience and don't relate to the person who was just born and raised in the same place. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
And so, I think that was always a disconnect too, because there was a lot of people who were very much born and raised, you know what I'm saying, where I'm from. And it's like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? And but it's something that I think I understand to a degree because I was around it all growing up. And so it's like, I saw that. And I think for me being an outlier in that, it's like, you know, I don't know. I just want to help show people and help, I don't know, a lot of those people who maybe didn't have those experiences or conversations or even those ideas of just like, hey, maybe, you know what, maybe there is stuff beyond here. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, there absolutely is. And it's, there's hope. I went to, I won't get too far into the story, but I went to Ecuador when I was 16 years old, and that trip like changed my life because we were in the southern hemisphere, right? And I'm dealing with people who don't speak the same language as me, have a completely different, their daily routine is so completely different than mine. You know what I'm saying? And their life is so different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like and I don't know. It was just kind of this thought or this realization where it's just like, this is, I don't know, like, this is these people's world, you know what I'm saying? And it is so completely different and foreign to us, you know what I'm saying? And just some of the things and some of the ways that they live that's so normal are just so just like, what the fuck to us, you know? But it's...
And they're happy.
Yes.
There's people that are happy.
Very happy. Yeah. And the thing is, and it's, I don't know, it's so cool to learn about that, you know? Yeah. And to just be like, oh, wow, when you're in the southern hemisphere, all the water drains counterclockwise. That shit tripped me out. You know what I'm saying?
That's what you got tripped out about?
That was one of the things. No,
that's such a Hayden thing to get tripped out about.
Told me that all the time.
Listen, I'm telling you, you're so used to the toilet flushing a certain way that you don't think about it, but when it flushes a different way, you're just like, what in the actual fuck?
Wow.
Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that we have, I don't know, for me, I just hope that there's people out there who can listen to this podcast, hear these types of conversations that we're having, and maybe, again, at least can feel like, again, we want you guys out there to feel like you're a part of these conversations, which is why I think we're trying to do this and format this the way that we do, because like, we want you guys to be a part of this conversation. And things changed for me from sitting and being a part of these conversations and talking and really mostly listening and learning, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's so important, you know what I'm saying? I think it's really important to always listen and always learn if it's somebody who's different than you and who is trying to explain how things are for them. And I think, and that I don't know. I'm probably just going to say this damn near every episode, but I feel like we live in a world where everybody's just, you know, with like politics and everything's so just polarized, you know what I'm saying? And everybody's so just, I feel like we're just all like so against each other, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But being able to have a space where we can have these conversations and do, you know, learn from each other in these types of ways, that was so powerful to me, because it's not just like a I'm right, no, I'm right, no, I'm right. You know what I'm saying? Or you're wrong, no, you're wrong. No, I promise you, you are wrong. And it's like, I don't know. It's like it's more complicated than that, you know. A lot of times,
for sure.
Sometimes things are and people are just straight up wrong, but like sometimes it's a lot more complicated than that. And you got to understand. I think it's less of being like I'm trying to approach people and approach things less of just like, you know, like you shouldn't think that or blah blah blah. Where it's just like, what makes you think that? You know what I'm saying? Like, legitimately.
You know what really grinds my gears? These motherfuckers with these fucking ideas that, like, they're not throwing their idea on you. They're just against your idea. Oh, you got that idea?
Yeah.
I think it's not right. I think it's wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's against whatever the fucking person that's standing up on the thing told me I should think. You know what I mean? It's like, man,
Yeah.
I don't like. There's so many, you know, just when it comes to politics in general. First of all, I think if you pick a team, you lost. And if you don't pick a team, you have a chance of winning, but you probably lost. I mean, it's not a winner. There's not really any winners in the way it's done here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Probably in most major countries, it's like not really any amount of winners. Actually, I was just hearing about this one guy that was, he was like a politician in Africa that like brought water to, Egypt, I think, that brought water to, Africa, in
Egypt's in Africa.
Right.
Yeah.
But specifically in Egypt, he had brought water to the people and he brought education, like public, all this stuff. And then he was just like, the U.S. was like, he's a murderer. We got to kill this guy. And everyone was like, yeah, he's against the U.S. We got to kill him. And then in Africa, they were like, this is the best guy ever, man. He brought us, you know, free education for everybody in Egypt. He got us like reliable water. And like this whole mentality of like, you have an idea that's different from me? Well, now I'm pissed off. Like, it's so fucking, I just can't even wrap my mind around it. Like,
Yeah.
it's the big hot button topics. Like the shit that's getting reversed with like women's rights. I'm like, who is even out there still fucking politicking for this to get reversed? Like, what fucking planet is that? Where are we at? And why are you so upset about other people's ideas? Like, they're not hurting you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what is the big issue? And I think for those people that strongly engage in that type of behavior, they all need to experience some sort of like psychedelic ego death. Like, like I don't know, like fucking ayahuasca or something, or like, or at least like a therapeutic dose of mushrooms or something. Because I feel like you can get trapped in this physical space that we're in. Like, we're all spiritual beings in a flesh body, right? Like, we're all spirits inside of this animal, but we forget that we are in an animal, and the animal physically has like maintenance, like a vehicle that you got to keep up with, and B, like you get all the emotions and the confusion and the anxiety and the physical manifestations of those and the emotional manifestations of those become so overwhelming that you forget like we're all one. You forget that we have like, we can do great things if we just get on the same team, but you know, hurt people. And you got to be a person that's been hurt, that stops hurting people for this shit to really change. You know what I'm saying? And engaging in this subject material for me with anyone that's like fired up about it or like active in it or in that space, I dread it, I fear it, and I don't want to participate because I know it's not two ways. I know it's only one-sided. You've got an idea, and I have a different idea, and those can't coexist. So I must put all my time and effort into being angry. It's like, bitch, you could go fucking kick it with some family members. You could make a good-ass meal. You could go feed some bread to some fucking ducks at the park.
Facts.
Why the fuck are you over here trying to stomp on somebody's idea.
Yeah.
Like with your actual time and energy. I'm sorry.
And no.
I'm not sorry.
I think
Yeah, don't
Don't be sorry.
Nah.
Be good.
Nah, I think one of the things too is that whenever people, it's like the drama and the, you know what I'm saying, like that sort of the antagonism. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's like people feed into it. It's like it gets views, like it gets, you know what I'm saying?
There's
like
an energy to it.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, this is just my personal opinion. Take it for what it is, but I personally feel like that is kind of a defense mechanism, like a defense mechanism to not have to deal with your own stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because if we stop doing that, then we're left with ourselves and our own stuff that we have to face within ourselves. And having these types of conversations, it makes you have to think about your own stuff. And that's a dangerous place for a lot of people that I think they're so unwilling to do that it's easier to, when you put the focus on really anyone or anything else, you know what I'm saying? And this is all subconscious. This is subconscious stuff that we kind of, you know, anybody who's experienced, really, I mean, I would say most anybody, you know what I'm saying? If you've not really dealt with your stuff, but especially if you have like trauma and other shit that you've not dealt with, it's like that, again, it's going to come out sideways, and that's a great way to just put that off so where you don't have to do that because, oh, well, there's this thing, you know what I'm saying? If that thing is a lot more pressing and is a lot more in your face, you know, you don't have to have that downtime where you just literally just sit with yourself and your own things, or be in a position where you have to be faced with your own, you know what I'm saying, like shortcomings, honestly, you know what I'm saying, or things that you really need to like dig in and deal with, because it's not easy, you know what I'm saying? Like these conversations, I'm not going to act like whenever I had a lot of these conversations at first and I just kind of learned, I was like, wow, I was raised in a really like racist environment, just being real. And I had to really take accountability for my own actions and really sit there and take a hard look at myself and how, you know, again, there was never actively any overt hate towards anybody necessarily, but it was those like, it was just those judgments and those preconceived ideas or notions that I had about certain people and certain people that I looked down on without even realizing that was totally what I was doing.
Yeah.
But really realizing that, no, that is what I was doing. And I had to, like, I mean, it was, I'll tell a story. And I'll try to keep it short because I know we're going a little long here, but,
Turn up.
yeah, we knew going in. We're just like, this is going to be a longer episode.
Yeah.
But worth it. But so, and this is somebody who, I'm being honest, I probably need to reach out to and like really apologize and actually have a conversation with this person. But, there was basically like one Hispanic girl at like our whole school, you know what I'm saying? Not just like our grade, like school. And we had, you know, we had this like fake news team, like our music and drama, we had this like fake news team. And literally our one friend who is Italian, right? Like he was our sports guy, and we, you know, they came up with the name Mexico Joe for him. It was extremely racist. Like it was extremely racist. You know what I'm saying? Of course, at the time we thought it was like funny as shit, but there was never ever a thought of just like, damn, how much that made her feel? You know what I'm saying? Like she is actually Mexican, and this is, you know what I'm saying? Like her whole culture and heritage is just being mocked and made a mockery of, you know. But again, it's like it was so like ancillary to us, you know, like, but I had to really sit there and really realize like, damn, like that was being a part of that was like fucked up, you know what I'm saying? Like that was really fucked up. And you know, and it was tough. Like I had to really like sit there and be like, damn, like there's probably, and there's a number of people that I have reached out to and have apologized for certain things. And I think she's still one of those people that, I mean, I don't know, she probably might not even, I mean, unfortunately, just because of where she was raised, I'm sure she was probably just used to it but that still doesn't excuse it. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, her and I are still friends on Facebook, and we interact, and it's cool. Like, there's never been anything like that. But I think it's something I need to reach out to her and apologize to her, because it's just like, you know, again, it's just like there's an accountability for my own actions, whether, even though it was out of ignorance, it still is something I did that hurt people, and low key is part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, in those times I was being part of the problem, not on purpose, but I think a lot of people are not on purpose. But that's the thing. It's just like, I think we have to realize that and understand that, and, you know, take accountability for that. And I think, you know, do something, I think, to move things in a more positive direction. And I don't know, maybe this is part of that for me. You know what I'm saying? Maybe this whole podcast is a little part of that for me.
Yeah.
But still, I think, you know, but that's just real. And I think people don't want to have to face those things about themselves, because it's a hard thing to face.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The-
I cried. Like, I'm for real, because it really hit me. I'm just like that shit was like, it really impacted me once I finally realized, like, oh shit, like, you know, like, I didn't realize how my actions had really hurt people and made things worse, but it did. And again, I just think that sometimes, though, you know, you got to do that. That's the only way we can heal, just as people. You know what I'm saying? Just as a society. And I don't know if we're ever gonna fully get there, but I think this is a start. You know, I think that's some of the actions we got to take.
We all have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
To take accountability and learn.
Yeah.
Learn from our mistake. Nobody's perfect.
That's the hard part, right? Is the learning. That's what's uncomfortable, is change. And I think people like, we're all just trying to get through our day, we're just trying to have a good ass day. I feel like most humans are like, they wake up and they're like, fuck, just please everything go right today.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I feel like having these conversations is an easy way for your vibe to get fucked up. Because you might have to take a deep look at yourself. You might have to realize, you know, like you did in that scenario, that your actions like really impacted somebody negatively.
Yeah.
And even though you did it out of ignorance, you know, you still got to take accountability.
It's uncomfortable.
And you cried because it was cringe for you. You cried because it was painful to know that you did that. And you probably cried also just like out of a, you know, guilt and like, you know, you probably were crying also like tears of like, I like that person. I don't feel racism towards, you know, I don't feel like, I'm not judging her because of her background. Like, you were probably feeling all those things, and crying is something that all of us are trying not to do every day. So I feel like that's probably why most people just stay in that little comfy little bubble. You know, we don't got to do anything that makes us think too hard or try too hard. Just keep it going smooth. I'm not going to hate on them for it, but I'm going to say you ain't maximizing your potential as a human if you're living like that. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Yeah.
facts.
Yeah. I mean, and I think too, it just, again, I think it's part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. I think a lot of us, I hear conversations a lot about people being like, oh man, like this world has gotten like so much worse or whatever. Like things were so much better when I was a kid or whatever. Like, look, we're all, at least those of us that are adults, you know what I'm saying? Like I mean, even fuck that. Like, even when you're not fully an adult, like I think you still, to some degree, have the power to do something about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think life isn't something that just happens to you. If you know, it can be if you let it, but we all have the ability to do something and change something. You know what I'm saying? Like we take actions every day, and all those actions impact our world around us and everything that we do. And it's like, even though you might be comfortable with those actions, and you might have to step outside of that, if you really want to see change, and if you really want things to not be this way, it's up to us. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's up to us on an individual level. Like, this is how we change things and how we start. And I mean, I don't know, when I first came out, you know, I've had multiple people be like, yo, like knowing you and this experience has like changed how I thought about like gay people. You know what I'm saying? And like, that was, I mean, amazing to me, obviously, but it's like, those are the types of things that need to happen. You know what I'm saying? Because like if we don't, then we're just gonna, you know, I don't know. It's just like it's gonna self-destruct, and we see that. We see the evidence of that in our world today.
That's one of those that's one of those things where I'm like, that's exactly one of those ideas that other people are like, I fucking disagree. It's like, bitch, we're in our own crib. Like, fuck you. What are you worried about? Why do you don't even know what's going on, but yet you're like, I want to go definitely fucking stand up and say fuck this.
Right.
Like, you need to have something to say fuck this to. Like, I'm gonna fucking burn these Nike socks, dude. Like, fuck this. It's like, what? God damn it. Motherfuckers are dumb, man.
It's true. This goes back to getting uncomfortable, like getting out of your comfort zone, experiencing different shit. Experience different shit. Like, get out of your comfortable bubble. Like, you have to. There's no other way. And it's 2024. There's no excuse to not, if you're not a child. The information is there. Like, as a grown person, like, the information is out there. You can learn. Everyone is capable to grow and to change and to learn and listen to different perspectives.
Yeah,
absolutely. And you know what helps? Like, you know what helps with that? Honestly, I'm not being a fucking troll. Honestly, memes fucking help, especially with like interracial stuff, because there's like tons of things where it's like, you know, just like whatever culture you're in, it's like there's memes about being in that culture. Like, oh, you know, when your grandma says this, or like when your auntie says that, or like whatever. And for me and Morgan, we can send those to each other, and I can be like, you know, so and so in my family, and send the meme with it. You know what I mean? Or she'll have something like that. I was like, you know, Big Mama was always like this, and the meme will be saying like whatever. You know what I mean? So in a funny way, I feel like memes might actually be like one of the most powerful like communication tools that we've ever had, because there's some way that you can experience like so many nuanced levels of a thing, like all at once. Like today, a homie showed me this. He showed me this meme that was like someone with a really big smile, just like too big of a smile, and it said KYS, and it under that it said keep yourself safe or something like that. And with this big ass smile, and I just started laughing because I was like, this is obviously sarcasm. And you know, he's saying keep yourself safe, and it's KYS, so it's probably like saying like, oh, that's probably like a thing we say, KYS. Like, I was able to absorb all that, and then my other friend was like, I don't get it. And it turns out it was a video game reference. And I didn't even know that KYS meant yourself in video games. And I was like, damn, that's kind of fucking dark. Like, holy shit. But I was able to pick up like all these other nuances from the meme. And he was like, yeah, you get it. It's sarcasm and all this stuff. I was like, dang, that meme was like low key powerful. Like we were able to experience like 7 or 8 like nuanced little ideas in this just one picture.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I never really thought of that like that. All right, sorry about that, guys. We had some technical difficulties, but
we're back.
We're back. But anyway,
that was my chance. And we back.
But yeah, man, no, this has been a really great conversation, and I think you know, it's always so interesting because whenever, I think especially for this episode, it's like there was even like a couple questions that I had like planned in my mind that we just like never got to because the conversation just naturally led us down a different way. But that's the thing about it, and that's the cool thing. And I think that's a beautiful thing about having these types of conversations is I think we had the conversation that we needed to have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's my thing again. Like kind of like I was saying earlier. Like I want y'all to feel included. You know what I'm saying? Like I want this to be like we're all having a conversation and y'all are right there with us. You know what I'm saying? And that was great. And this was awesome. I'm so glad we got y'all on the podcast.
No,
Thanks for
sure.
having
Yeah,
us.
thank you for
Of
having
course.
us.
Yeah, for sure. And again, we miss you guys. We're so glad. I'm
Yeah.
glad we got to
I
hang
always
out
miss
today.
y'all.
Me too.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
It was
And-
fun.
Sure.
We got the home studio set up now, so I need you fools to come through and get some portraits done.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
Oh yeah.
You know what
yes.
I'm saying?
No,
Oh, yeah.
definitely. No, we'll definitely take you up on that for sure.
Pull up.
For sure, guys. So, yeah. How about this, everyone? Baby, Morgan, Cal. Last thoughts. Guess not.
I don't even know. This conversation went by. It feels like it went by so fast because we can just talk for all day, all night. We
I
can.
know.
'cause
We have done
because
it.
we're friends.
We
and it's
absolutely have.
Fun.
We've gone there.
But I think this was awesome. This is a needed conversation, and
Yeah.
I'm just appreciative you had us on.
Yeah,
here,
of
and,
course. Thank y'all.
You
thank
know,
y'all
I
for
think it's
stopping
really
by.
cool what you guys are doing. So
Yay.
Yeah, it is really cool.
Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you. Gratitude for being here.
for sure.
Yeah,
we love y'all.
we love,
Love
you
y'all
too.
too.
Love you guys.
Yeah. How about you, babe? Any last thoughts, last words?
Yeah, man. I just appreciate y'all for coming through, and it was amazing, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a vibe.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. This has been the How Real It Is podcast. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. I know this is a little bit, I say a little bit, this is definitely a longer episode than usual, but we knew that going in just because, again, like we're all such good friends. Like we could, I mean,
It
man.
just be like that.
Yeah,
It'd be like
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we really could have gone for like 3 hours, and I would have gone through editing hell trying to make this into.
easily.
I would have had to make this into like multiple episodes or something. But anyway, thank you guys so much. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow us at How Real It Is Pod on everything, and we will see you guys next Wednesday. Peace. Yeah.
How real it is. How real it is. How real it is. How real it is. Hey, yeah, man. So be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on all social media platforms at How Real It Is Pod.